This is our last day without some real football action. It looks like most teams are actually playing their starters. I know we are getting guys like Deshaun Watson very soon, so I am incredibly excited to watch football, but maybe even more excited to hop into some fantasy football drafts like we do every single night, ladies and gentlemen. Going to be hopping into these drafts on Underdog, of course. We are going to be looking now at the $25 buy-in Best Ball Mania. This is the largest tournament on Underdog. This is the largest fantasy football tournament on the planet. $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool, $3 million for first place, $1 million for second, $300,000 for third. Crazy regular season prizes as well. Let's go ahead and let's get in this draft, ladies and gentlemen. Super, super excited about this one. And yeah, thank you so much for everybody coming and hanging out with us in this live stream. Really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate y'all. Now, where are we at? 107. I feel like we've had a decent run here with picks in the middle rounds. I mean, picks in the middle, whether that's 105, 106, 107, 109. I know a lot of people say that they don't like middle round selections this year. To be honest with you, I'm kind of fine here in the middle of round one. 107, obviously y'all know Bijan Robinson is in play for us. We most likely will go in his direction. Yes, I already see everybody in the chat saying, Kyle saying he's in this draft with us. Please let me know what pick you're at, my man. And I can see you now in there at 12. And yeah, if you're in this draft with us, please let me know in the live chat. I know we got MF57 out here. We got Austin in here at pick 5. Happy to see you, my man. Yes, good luck. Good luck. Bots. Let's get this going. Scorp says, finally caught one live. Happy to have you out, my man. Now, Jefferson off the board 1. And as this gets up, come on. If you have not dropped a like on this live stream yet, go down there, drop a like on this stream. I mean, we are about to hit 200 likes in the stream, and we're like 2 minutes into this live stream. Thank you so much. Positive Perk in here with us at pick 6. Belar telling us to cue the gym pick. You better believe it's on deck, my man. We got that right next to us right now. And I'm going to need some energy. So you know what we're doing? There's no caffeine. The only ingredients are mineral water and carbon dioxide. But we're going to go with the placebo here. We're going some sparkling water, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, let's go. And Zero says, will we be attempting the $1,000 entry today? Maybe. I checked this morning and it looked like the $1,000 draft wasn't close to filling on Underdog. If things change, we can go ahead and we can hop into a $1,000 draft later this live stream. But my plan is to not right now. But we're going to go ahead. We are going to take Bijan Robinson, and just in case y'all did not know, just in case you have not seen my favorite picture in the whole wide world, I'm a former Texas Longhorn. I interviewed him at the NFL draft. I ran into him at the gym. So you better believe I'm going to take him in every single draft I freaking can. Fantasy football is meant to be fun. This is someone that I'm going to have fun rooting for. So we're going to take him in here at pick 7. And Andres coming out says, thoughts on this 111 draft? We went Lamb, Adams, Najee Gibbs, Hawkinson. Oh, if you got Hawkinson falling to you at the 5'11", Pittman, Flowers, Kamara, Cousins. I actually really like this, my man. I think the difference-making selection is getting T.J. Hawkinson there at the 5-6 turn. Like, T.J. Hawkinson was the tight end 3 this past season from a points per game perspective. The man's stepping into his prime. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to have a ton of passing volume overall this next season. So I love it, my friend. I love it. But now we have Kelsey off at 8. Diggs, Lamb, A.J. Brown, 9 through 11. Okay. Mega Alpha Supreme says, Bijan looking alarmingly small in that pick. Might change his position on my draft board. I've told y'all before, and I don't know why y'all don't believe me. I'm 6'5", 250 pounds of muscle, all right? I don't know how many times I have to tell y'all that I'm 6'5", 250 for you to finally believe me. There's photo evidence right there, ladies and gentlemen. And that team at 12 going with a unique start of Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, there at the turn. Very interesting. I wonder if that pushes any value down to us. I mean, guys that are still available right now, you have Chubb, St. Brown, Adams, Waddle, Barkley, Pollard. Hell, maybe this ends up being a Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley start, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe it does. And Cameron coming out says, a 14-team PPR format. We have Fields, Swift, Pierce, A.J. Brown, and Amon-Ra, Cooks, Boyd, Brian Robinson, Evan Ingram, Brock Purdy, KJ Osborne, Tyler Higbee. Any trades to get a running back? I mean, in general, 14-team format's going to be much more difficult to find a running back at a value. I would just say what I'm trying to do is not necessarily trade for a running back straight up, but instead, I'm probably looking to adjust how we are allocating our bench spots, and I'm most likely wanting to drop one of the wide receivers on the bench, such as KJ Osborne, and instead try to go get a running back off the waiver wire that if he finds a good landing spot, he could all of a sudden be a difference maker, right? I mean, I would look to go ahead and maybe drop KJ Osborne and pick up someone like Kareem Hunt, Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette, even if that's a guy that you're going to drop week one anyway. Now, Tony Pollard goes after we take Jalen Waddle, but I mean, in general, we want to be going wide receiver after we start with Bijan Robinson if we can. We know wide receivers in underdog drafts obviously get pushed up the board in the middle rounds. And of course, if y'all are not already drafting on Underdog and you want to draft with us, which we are doing every single night on this live stream on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat description comment section. Promo code FLOCK gets you a 100% deposit match up to $100. It also gets you our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. These are best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during the season. It's not going to replace your main fantasy football league, just going to be some extra fun on the side. And since it's best ball, that's how I drafted 700 teams, won $150,000 last year. And Underdog's also the same place where they have all the player props that I'm sure y'all are tired of seeing by now. But my favorite player prop actually just got taken down. I don't mind the Terry McLaurin versus Jahan Dotson with receiving touchdowns. And also, I'm a little bit interested in looking at DeAndre Swift versus Damian Harris rushing yards with the reports we're having out of Buffalo. But Derrick Henry making it down to pick 28. That's crazy. Mark says, did you see Colin Cowherd's a list of quarterbacks that can never win a Super Bowl? He had your boy on it. Also some very spicy others. I did not, my man. Not going to lie to you. I don't know if this makes me a fraud or whatever, but I do not watch Colin Cowherd. I don't really watch like anybody on. I don't know. I can't tell you the last time I watched ESPN. Or anything like that. Unless ESPN's watching. Then I watch it every single morning, and I would love to sign the next Pat McAfee deal. My cost, going to give you a discount. We're going to go $40 million for 2 years. $40 million for 2 years. But, yeah, we're going to go Ramondre Stevenson, 31. Now with Stevenson, a little concerning that they could add in Hunt. They could add in Fournette. That they could add in Dalvin. Maybe they trade for JT. Who the hell knows? But nonetheless, I mean, we are chasing upside here, obviously. I haven't drafted a lot of Ramondre because he used to go at the 2-3 turn. There won't be a lot of teams with him at pick 31. Now, Christian says, redraft 12-team full PPR. If you were to go zero running back through the first 5 rounds, who are your favorite running backs to target rounds 6 and beyond? So if you're going to be looking at underdog drafts, I'm actually fine if you wanted to go zero RB on underdog, because round 6 and beyond, you're going to be able to look at Miles Sanders. I really like Miles Sanders at this price point. I also really like J.K. Dobbins if he goes back to practice. Dameon Pierce, I love at cost almost regardless. Round 7, Montgomery, Swift, Javonte, I'm all about. Round 8, Alvin Kamara, now that he dodges Kareem Hunt. Also James Cook, now that he's getting the solid reports coming out about him looking like the full-blown starter. Okay. A-Rod says Hunt signed in New Orleans. I thought, how are y'all not getting these updates? No, Hunt was going to sign in New Orleans. He left, went and visited Indianapolis. They didn't get a deal done. And now Kareem Hunt's back out there on the streets and you have no idea. We have no idea when Kareem Hunt is going to sign, where Kareem Hunt will sign, or any of those veteran running backs for that matter. Okay. Now, Christian Watson off the board, 37. Swing this back around. I have noticed Keenan Allen falling a considerable amount now. Michael says, Mason firing on all cylinders right now. You may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like. Who doesn't like this? Look, my man. Are you kidding me? More like you love to see it, and this is exactly what peak performance looks like. But, okay. Now, Deebo Samuel going off the board there at 38. Keenan Allen goes 39. Joe Mixon off the board at 40. So we're probably going to get our guy here, ladies and gentlemen. And we are going to have a very interesting, very weird team that hopefully we can make it work. Hopefully we can make it work. Terry McLaurin goes. We'll take Najee Harris and see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Now, obviously, what we are doing at this point is we are sending up a prayer saying, please give me a wide receiver round 5. Please give me a wide receiver round 6. I have an idea of what kind of wide receiver prototype we're going to be looking at. But full transparency, we almost have to draft a wide receiver in rounds 5 and 6, just because after that, you're going to see a significant tier drop at the position on Underdog. Now, a lot of people asking why Najee over Etienne. Yeah, y'all know I've drafted way more Travis Etienne than Najee Harris. I mean, I would honestly rank Travis Etienne straight up over Najee. But if you're looking at how ADPs lined up, where Najee Harris has spent pretty much the entire offseason with an ADP there at the 3-4 turn, and Najee Harris very, very rarely falls to the end of round 4. And with Ramondre Stevenson on the other end, Ramondre Stevenson has an ADP at the 2-3 turn. These are guys that are very rarely ever going to be paired up together. So I like going for the unique build while at the same time diversifying our portfolio just a bit, right? Because even if I prefer Travis Etienne over Najee Harris, I mean, hell, I'm wrong all the time. I'm an idiot, right? So what if I'm wrong with that? Now, Fergal says, can we please get a moment of silence for Marlon Mack missing the season? Oh my gosh. Did something happen with Marlon Mack? I know everybody just told us he just signed. I think he signed like Arizona, right? Let's go ahead and let's pull this up. What's going on with Marlon Mack? Okay, interesting to see the Burrow team still stack him with Jamar Chase, despite taking Jalen Hurts there at pick 26. Marlon Mack tore his Achilles like 3 hours ago. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Poor Marlon Mack. You come back to essentially be a practice squad guy, and that is what happens? Very sad to see. Very sad to see. Sean says, yo, Mason, who's the Breece Hall pick this year that if my second wife left me over it, I still ride or die? And yes, I got remarried in the offseason. Well, happy to hear that ended up working out for y'all. If y'all don't know, Sean's wife ended up leaving him due to Breece Hall last year. I would say that guy this season, most likely Bijan, if we had to go with another rookie, my man. If we had to. Okay. Now we're going to go Fields 55, despite the fact that we say we have to draft a wide receiver. And now this officially means that, yes, we have to take a wide receiver. And Piono says, Mason, thanks for the $25 donation. You are welcome, my man. Thank you for Sean and the others who donated in this live stream, so we could donate $25 in this Underdog draft for y'all. Now Montgomery going off the board. Javonte Williams, 61. This is the earliest I've seen Javonte Williams in quite some time. I don't know if I've seen Javonte Williams this early all offseason. It's like the earliest we've seen him go. Lockett goes 62. There are 3 players we can look at: Hollywood, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman. These are the 3 players that we can draft. If all 3 wide receivers go, we would take George Kittle, but that's not happening. Now, Austin says 3rd time's the charm, Sean. Yeah. Sean, if your first marriage didn't work out, if your second marriage didn't work out, I'll look at the 3rd one. Kilo says they can't find our draft guide. Okay, so yeah, I mean, if y'all signed up to Underdog and you're looking for our 2023 fantasy football draft guide, Underdog's not going to email you the draft guide directly. Underdog is going to email you free access to flockfantasy.com, where our 2023 fantasy football draft guide is. So please, if you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK and made a deposit and you are looking for our rankings, looking for a draft guide, look in your spam email. You should have an email from Underdog Fantasy. Go use the free access they're giving you to flockfantasy.com, and you can find everything there, my friends. You can find everything there. And of course, if you're a paid member of flockfantasy.com, please remember to go to your account page and put in your Underdog username. And just immediately you'll get a free $10 in your Underdog account. Doesn't matter if you just took advantage of the $100 deposit bonus. Doesn't matter if you, signed up to Underdog 2 years ago. If you are a paid member of flockfantasy.com, please go claim your free $10. And if you're not already on flockfantasy.com, that's where all my rankings are. That's where all the premium content is. Pretty much all your favorite YouTubers are on there as well. Sign up with promo code FLOCK and you get 30% off any subscription. And at the same time, promo code FLOCK will get you yours truly breaking down your fantasy football team in a podcast. Now, Dallas Goedert goes a 74. So there are a couple different players that we can be looking at here. I would say, I don't want to queue up these guys exactly. Clearly, if Michael Pittman makes it to us at 79, when we very much need a wide receiver, we'll go ahead and we'll take Michael Pittman. There are a couple different options we could pivot to. Now, the bench warmer, similar team to ours: quarterback Mahomes, running back CMC, Jacobs, Alexander Madison, wide receiver London, tight end TJ Hawkinson. They go George Pickens there, 77. Net junkie on the clock. Oh my gosh. Spam the chat. Am I allowed to take Kyle Pitts? Quarterback, we have Fields. Running back, we have Bijan, Ramadre, Najee. Wide receiver, we have Waddle and Hollywood. We need a wide receiver so damn bad, but taking Pitts here puts us in a position where we possibly only have to take 2 tight ends. And everybody in the chat spamming for us to take Jahan Dotson. I'm going to do it anyway, ladies and gentlemen. We drafted Bijan Robinson. We've made a bet on this offense. Let's double down on said bet. Let's go, Kyle Pitts. And we are going to have to draft 9 wide receivers in this Underdog draft. We are going to take 9 wide receivers, and hopefully the best ball format saves us. Hopefully these guys can randomly spike into our starting lineup when we need them to. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, JDP says, after 50-plus drafts, I finally got my first 101 and went Jefferson, Hurts, Taylor, ETN, Addison. Oh, that's a better 101 team than I've drafted all offseason. So I'm surprised to see it's taken so long, my man, but looks like the wait has been worth it because I have not had a single draft from pick 1 that I've liked that much this offseason. Now, at this point, the only thing we can consider is wide receiver, which we've been saying for the past 3 rounds. Okay, let's move this over. It literally doesn't even matter if Rachaad White makes it to us. We only have Jalen Waddle and Hollywood Brown. This is Underdog. You have to start 3 wide receivers. These guys are going to be pushed up. This is what this looks like for us, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we're at. Now, JPC says, spam gets auto-deleted. I can't find my free guide. I'm sorry, my man. Send me an email if your spam gets auto-deleted for whatever reason. I don't even think it goes to the majority of people's spam. So please, if you are, for whatever reason, your spam gets auto-deleted, send me an email. I'll be happy to say yep. Okay. Now, Kamara goes 86. Scott says we need more running back. I actually think we maybe need a quarterback here. Maybe we need to go Tua to pair up Waddle. Thinking about that one, my man. Dotson off the board. I mean, oh, dear God. Imagine if we would have had Jahan Dotson making it to us a pick 90. That would have been beautiful. Let's see what this team does. They have Lawrence, quarterback, running back, Barkley, Connor, wide receiver, Cooper, McLaurin, Ayuk, tight end, Travis Kelce. JBC, you can find it in the description. They go Rachaad White, so we're going to go Treylon Burks, a wide receiver 3. And for the love of God, Treylon Burks, please do something this next season. I don't know how, considering the fact that the Tennessee Titans are a run-first offense. They have DeAndre Hopkins. They have the worst offensive line in the NFL. So don't ask me how Treylon Burks is going to do something this next year. Because the truth of the matter is, I have no idea, but please make it happen. Whatever you have to do. Whatever you have to do. Okay. Now, Chief Matt says, I'll give you credit. This is a unique. Honestly, I know everybody's going to hate on this team, but I don't hate it. Considering the fact we're going to draft like 9 wide receivers. I mean, running back, Bijan, Ramondre, Najee Harris holding down the fort. We have the elite quarterback with Justin Fields. We have a high upside tight ends with Kyle Pitts. Wide receiver, we still have Waddle, Hollywood, Burks, so it's not like we're completely dead. I actually kind of like this. Now, Patrick coming out says, that time of the year again, drafting in the 11th spot in the 1 ounce gold coin entry, thinking my best running back that falls, and then St. Brown no matter what, or what of a wide receivers. What the hell is a 1 ounce gold coin entry? Is this like a famous fantasy football draft I don't know of? Or is this something 1 ounce gold price? All right. Gold's about $1,900 an ounce. So pretty high stakes draft here. I would say, my man, it's really going to come down to your starting lineup requirements. I mean, if you're going to have to go through and start, say, 3 wide receivers and 2 flex spots, at that point, I would probably rather pivot over, and I'd probably rather go double wide receiver. Whereas if you're only starting 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, then instead, I would probably go RB. So it's a really interesting situation, my man. Really interesting spot. Now, running back makes like no sense for us. Quarterback, these guys don't make a lot of sense. So I'm actually going to reach on Pat Freiermuth, pair up Kyle Pitts and Pat Freiermuth from that same 2021 NFL draft. And we are going to stop taking tight ends. So taking the next tight end here, this is going to put us in a position where we only have to take 2. We most likely only have to take 2 quarterbacks as well. I'll figure it out. Nolan says, people inflation hedging their fantasy drafts wild. That is funny. Like every year, it doesn't matter. We're not going to have to debate, oh, okay, are we moving this from a $2,000 buy-in, $2,100 buy-in? It's just, okay. It's a 1 ounce gold coin. That is funny. And DNB says, flock coin over ounce of gold draft, 100%. How about this? This is going to be a limited time offer for today and today only. I will host 10 redraft leagues this season. If you want to get in, the cost will be 1 flock coin. The price of 1 flock coin is determined by myself because I'm the only person with them. The cost of that flock coin will be the same as an ounce of gold. It'll be $2,000. So give me $2,000, and winners will get infinite flock coins, which you can keep as a collectible. How about that? How about that? But to get in the draft, you have to have one. Austin says, this draft totally got away from me. What are your thoughts, my man? You're the pot calling the kettle black here at this point. Look at my team. But let's check out Austin at team 5. CMC, Mahomes, Jacobs, London, Hawkinson, Madison. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, the draft is very similar to what happened to me. Pickens, Dobbs there, 92 is just straight up bad, my man. No idea what the hell you're doing taking Romeo Dobbs. I think at this point, you kind of have to pivot over. You have to maybe go Bateman now that he's back at training camp, and then Jamison Williams. I mean, our team's eerily similar, and I'd say, yeah, neither of us are in a great spot, but I'm wishing you the best of luck, my friend. I truly am, because I'm in the same spot, and I need that same luck. Okay, let's see. LOL Brady goes Nico Collins. So we are going to take Tyler Boyd here and just send up a prayer that he can do something for us. I would way rather have A.J. Dillon, to be honest with you. I'd way rather have Dillon, but we kind of have to take a wide receiver. Okay. Now, OG says, with the 101, I'll select Ponzi scheme. Yes. Just everybody wire over the money to me, and I'll start distributing flock coins. But I'm going to keep track of everything on a Google sheet. And, yeah, I don't know if we'll ever be able to actually get the technology out there for y'all to hold a flock coin. But SG says, I'll give you my shiny Charmander for a flock coin. Hell, back in the day, I was a big Pokemon guy. So honestly, I may consider that, my man. I may consider that. Now, after we go Boyd, you only have one wide receiver going to our friend Austin at pick 5. He goes Rashee Rice, 116. Juju Smith-Schuster goes 119. And real quick, we just hit 400 likes on this live stream. Thank you so much for everybody going down there and dropping a like on the stream. If you have not done so yet, make sure you fix your life. Hit that like button. Let's get this bad boy up to 600 likes. Hell, we have over 1,200 people watching this. What are we waiting for? And of course, y'all know we are going to be firing up more drafts after this, so don't go anywhere. And if you want to get in a draft with us, whether that's the one after this, the one after that, or the one tomorrow, the next day, we're doing this every single day until NFL kickoff. These are best ball drafts on Underdog. No time commitment at all during the year. So I drafted 700 teams, 150,000 last year. Promo code FLOCK will get you a 100% deposit match. We'll get you our 2023 fantasy football rankings, as well as a free trial to flockfantasy.com, where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide, and where we can find Allen Lazard here, 127. Has anybody finished watching Hard Knocks yet? I am about 45, maybe 50 minutes into episode 1, and then I had to leave because I had to come to this live stream. So pivoted over from Hard Knocks, where I was scouting Allen Lazard. He was not in it for the first 40-ish minutes, but it is what it is. Patrick says, work at a gold company, work league, happy BR standard roster, MVP, Justin Fields, easy schedules, check the playoff matchups. Where I've actually drafted a lot of Justin Fields in these underdog drafts, just because I am trying to chase that highest ceiling possible. But let's pull up the Justin Fields playoff matchups. Bears schedule. Okay. Falcons, Cardinals, Browns. Will be interesting. The thing is, are they still competitive by the time we get to the end of the season? That's the primary question that we have. A-Rod says, what are we supposed to do with our life after NFL kickoff? I will still be live streaming every single day after kickoff, my man. Don't you worry about that. Now, Pump coming out, long-time member of the flock, says, thoughts on taking Bijan at 7? I just did. Also, thoughts on Olave. I think he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver this year. Yeah, I mean, I love Olave as a talent. It just comes down to how good is Derek Carr. And then with Bijan Robinson, I just took him at 7 myself, my man. I think that it's a solid selection, regardless of format. Okay. Now, Jonathan Mingo, 133. Obviously, when we have Justin Fields and we have no wide receivers, we are seeing if we can get Darnell Mooney with our next selection. And when we say we have no wide receivers, I mean, we have some wide receivers. We have Waddle, Hollywood, Burks, Boyd, Lazard. So we have wide receivers, just not good wide receivers. Okay. We cannot take tight ends. Quarterback, we could go Russ and then Marvin Mims on the way back around if we really wanted to. That would put us in a spot where we would only have to draft 2 quarterbacks. By no means are we guaranteed to get Marvin Mims on the way back. So I would honestly maybe just rather take Van Jefferson. Let's go Van Jefferson, get another wide receiver that could randomly spike into our starting lineup. While at the same time, we can set ourselves up with the ability to go ahead and take Matthew Stafford near the end of this draft. So let's get it going. Let's get it going. And Steel City Blue says 24-hour live stream, better rest up, Mason. It actually looks like there's a chance we hit 100,000 subscribers and we have to do the 24-hour live stream. I specifically set the goal for 200,000 subscribers because I thought it was not going to be possible. But by tomorrow, we should hit 165 at this rate. If things keep progressing how they are, we may end up having to do that 24-hour stream. Okay. Now, yeah, good thing we didn't go Russ because Marvin Mims immediately goes 141. And I'm fine not stacking Justin Fields because, I mean, at the end of the day, he can see a massive spike week with 60 rushing yards, multiple rushing touchdowns. However, I don't think you're going to get a massive Russell Wilson week without at least one of his pass catchers blowing up at the same time. And yeah, some strong tight end values at this point, but we can't take any. Strong tight end values, but we are just looking quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Now, Cam says, hey, Mason, love the streams. Question for you. In home leagues, how do you balance a value versus gambling in drafts? Like gamble on ADP or just go for your guy? It's obviously very difficult to answer this question. I would say I'm never going to be reaching on a player that I think we could possibly get on the way back around. Like, for instance, let's say just hypothetical, I really want Jordan Love with this next pick, right? Which I don't, but just say I did. In my mind, I should almost never take Jordan Love, pick 151, just knowing that there's a possibility that he makes it back around to us in round 14. So I want to go ahead and I just want to take the value. I want to grab another wide receiver, which we so desperately need. And then if we get that player on the way back around that we want, great. Now, if instead it's like, okay, well, Mason, I really want Jonathan Taylor over Jalen Waddle. Jonathan Taylor's not making it back around to us to pick 31. Then yeah, at that point, just go ahead and take him, right? I hope that answers it. Obviously, it's almost an impossible question to answer, but let's move this down. Now, Thielen 151 I like because it sets us up with the ability to go Bryce Young later on. Kyler Murray, Cole Kmet both go immediately after. Cole Kmet obviously should have been in play here. I think you can, looking back on this, I think you could have made the argument we shouldn't have taken Pat Freiermuth 103, and instead we should have waited to just grab Cole Kmet to pair up with Justin Fields. Could be a strong argument to make. Could make that argument. Okay, let's move this down. Okay. Running backs are back in play for us. Quarterback we can look at. We just took Van Jefferson, so Stafford is an option if we want him. And if we do want Stafford, we have to take him here because the Cooper Kupp team will take him if we don't. Okay. Zeke goes 159. Can we play a fun game? Can everybody please spam the chat? Where do you think Ezekiel Elliott lands? If you had to guess, if you had to call your shot, where is Ezekiel Elliott playing this next season? And Solid Jenkins says, do you think you should have taken Cooper over Stevenson? that you got Dillon later on. Honestly, I think I could have taken Dillon regardless. I think Stevenson was still the play, but I think you're right about that Dillon value, and we possibly could have just gotten Dillon. Okay. Jerome Ford off the board. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Devin Singletary. With Singletary, what I really like is you just know who his backfield, what his backfield is, right? I'm not worried about Ezekiel Elliott going over to the Houston Texans. Like, if the Texans were to bring in a veteran running back, I'd be really surprised just because this team's not competing this next year. Okay, let's see what people are saying, because I know a lot of people think he's going back to Dallas. Okay, so Dallas, Patriots, Dallas, Cardinals, Chiefs, Dallas, Patriots, Dolphins, Cincinnati, Patriots, Dallas, Miami. It's going to be something crazy, right? It's going to be like a team that we're not even expecting. Whenever I saw that Kareem Hunt was possibly going to be signing with, the New Orleans Saints, it's like, how the hell are the Saints even in the market for a running back? They have 3 guys right now, But Maserati says, would you take Bijan or Kupp, a pick 7 in a 12-team league? Also, round 3, would you take Higgins, Smitty, Amari, or Olave? Definitely going to go Olave over those wide receivers. And if you're going to get like Chris Olave in the middle of round 3, I strongly consider Bijan Robinson round 1 there. I think it's going to depend on how many wide receivers you can start. If you can only start 3 wide receivers the very most, at that point, we probably want to go ahead and just take, probably just want to take Bijan Robinson round 1. Okay, let's move this over. And we just hit 500 likes on this live stream. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for going down there and dropping a like in the stream for us. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so let's think through this. Now, quarterback, we have Fields. Running back, we have Bijan, Ramondre, Najee Harris, Devin Singletary. Wide receiver, we have Waddle, Hollywood, Burks, Boyd, Lazard, Van Jefferson, Adam Thielen. Tight end, we have Kyle Pitts, Pat Freiermuth. Do we mix in a rookie wide receiver that could see some random spike weeks? Yeah, no matter what, we know we need another wide receiver here, right? So let's go ahead and let's take Jalen Hyatt, 175. Hyatt's not someone that I want to waste time drafting in a regular redraft league. However, obviously an underdog, he's in play just because you could see some random spike weeks. Now, Scissors out here, always happy to see my man says, doing Best Ball Mania drafts tonight. Yes, sir. I believe I maxed out the Pitbull draft. That's what it was called. Let me double check to see if I maxed it out. Yeah, it's a 10 max, so I've maxed out the Pitbull. I don't think we can get in a $1,000 draft. I don't think there are enough people in the lobby. So we are going to stick with Best Ball Mania for tonight, my man. Let's move this down. And Michael coming out says, hey, Mason, did a 10-team dynasty startup draft with the win now approach where we took Fields and Dak, Henry, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, Chase, Kupp, Amari, Mike Williams, at wide receiver, Kelsey at tight end. Right approach, or is the team too old? The team is going to win this year, most likely. You would definitely be the favorite, right? Now, the thing is, what kind of long-term value are we sitting with? As long as you have your 2024 first, as long as you have your 2025 first, I'm fine, and I don't think we sacrifice too much long-term value. But what I'd be worried about is if this is your team and you traded away your 2024 and 2025 first-round picks to get that done, then at that point, I'd be really nervous, my friend. Okay. Let's move this back around. And honestly, I think we can get away with possibly drafting 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs here. Going with 3 QBs, 5 running backs, and then 8 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. The main question is, what the hell am I doing with all these wide receivers, right? Like Waddle, Hollywood, Burks, Boyd, Lazard, Van Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Jalen Hyatt. Does it all hinge on Treylon Burks? We need Burks to actually be something. We need Burks to break out. At least in my mind, that seems what this hinges. It seems like that's what this hinges on. Now, I heard that it seemed like Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders were kind of splitting this backfield in Carolina right now. You know for a fact that it's a 2-man backfield. Hubbard goes, so I'm actually not going to go that direction. We'll go ahead. We will take Leonard Fournette. I think we would have taken Kareem Hunt if it still looked like Kareem Hunt was going to end up on the Indianapolis Colts, but now that's no longer happening. We probably want to pivot. But let me go ahead and let's hop into another draft, ladies and gentlemen. So let me show you this team beforehand. We're definitely taking Desmond Ridder as another quarterback for the Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts bet. And then outside of that, I don't know what we're doing with our last pick. I will keep y'all posted though. So let's go ahead and let's get into our next draft. And there are a decent amount of spots open. So hopefully we had few of y'all getting in here with us. But Palm coming out says, I like Bijan, but I'm worried about Algier and Cordell Patterson taking touches. Also, should I trade pick 7 for 5 and for what? Glad to see you're still doing well. No, thank you so much, my man. I would say in general, I mean, I'm not really trading pick 7 for 5. I don't see a massive teardrop there. If you were to do it, I mean, hell, if you can like trade pick 7 and and your 12th round selection, move up to pick 5, it's like no cost to you. Sure, go ahead and do it. And yeah, with Bijan Robinson, it's definitely a possibility that Tyler Algier is seeing some work, seeing 20 to 25% of the backfield. But I mean, that happens in every single offense, right? Even Derrick Henry is giving up 20% of the carries to the other running backs on his depth chart. Now, Solid Jakin in here with us at 5. We got Dean Johnson in this draft with us at 4. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out and drafting with us. We're at 11 here, so it's going to be a little bit different than what we saw with the last draft. Hopefully we're able to make it work. I mean, we'll see what happens. Last night on the live stream, we had pick 12, and it sucked. I had pick 12, legitimately hated it. The team felt horrible. I don't know. Maybe we're overreacting, but I did not like in the last time. Sorry, trying to think of who we're taking to that other league. I guess we can go Tannehill, right? Yeah, we'll go Tannehill. Yeah, I see some people hyping up Cordell Patterson. The thing is with Cordell Patterson, the man is a dinosaur at this point. Let me look at how old Cordell Patterson is. Is he 33? Cordell Patterson's 32 years old. They just took Bijan Robinson inside the top 10 picks of the NFL draft. Do we really think he's going to have that large of a role? I don't know. All right, Diggs goes 8. So let's see what we are going to get at 11. If Bijan Robinson makes it to us, I'll be over the moon. I will be freaking pumped if Bijan makes it to us at 11. Which he doesn't. He goes at 9. A.J. Brown goes at 10. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take CeeDee Lamb at 11, which is not a super unique selection. There have been a lot of teams that have taken Lamb at 11. And we'll try to maybe make it a little bit more unique. I'm going to be avoiding Chubb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, just because there are going to be a lot of CeeDee Lamb teams with those guys. And instead, I'm probably going to slide down the board a bit. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes off at 12. Valentine says Cordell will be the wide receiver 3 this. Oh my God. Did y'all see this? That team takes Calvin Ridley. That team takes Calvin Ridley at pick 13. Now, I understand. Y'all know I always say in these underdog drafts, you want to have a unique start while not compromising for upside. One, I think you're compromising for upside taking Calvin Ridley over Devontae Adams. And two, with this, it's not that unique because in a lot of these underdog best ball mania tournaments, this tournament opened back in April, and there were teams that were able to draft Calvin Ridley at the 3-4 turn. So all of a sudden, you may be going up against a team that has Amon-Ra St. Brown and Calvin Ridley, but on top of it, they also have Saquon Barkley. On top of it, they also have Garrett Wilson. So in my mind, it's not that unique. You sacrifice upside to do so. So I don't like it. I mean, I don't think there are going to be too many CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams teams if you look at where Devontae Adams lines up. I mean, there'll definitely be way more CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams team than Amon-Ra St. Brown, Calvin Ridley. but I just think that we have a significantly higher ceiling. And I saw that they moved the Devontae Adams player prop on Underdog. Let me see what they have it at now. I can't even find it. Where the hell is the Devontae Adams player prop now? Okay, here it is. 8 receiving touchdowns, almost 1,300 receiving yards, 96.5 receptions, and 5 or more games with 100 receiving yards. You look at Calvin Ridley, on the other hand. They have Calvin Ridley at 925 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns, and 70.5 receptions. I mean, I think you're sacrificing a lot there to go ahead and do that. I don't know. I don't like it. Now, BP says, no team will be unique with Ridley, so not a valid argument. Well, my man, then don't try it with Ridley. Nobody's making you try it with Ridley. But, I don't know. But, of course, if y'all want to hop in some Underdog drafts, and if y'all want to draft Calvin Ridley there at pick 13, you are more than welcome to. I am drafting every single night on the live stream. And there will not be a single draft where I take Calvin Ridley in round 2. So if you love Calvin Ridley, I promise you, you can come out here and you can crush me in these drafts. They're best ball, no time commitment at all during the year. So I drafted 700 teams, won $150,000 last season. If you sign up to Underdog with the link in the live chat description comment section, they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100 with promo code FLOCK. You'll also get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And you can also check out all those player props that we were looking at previously, right? I mean, a line that I really like right now is going to be Terry McLaurin for more receiving touchdowns than Jahan Dotson. But Breece Hall goes a little early here at pick 29, at least in comparison. Now, that team that took Bijan Robinson ends up getting Garrett Wilson at 16. I really like that team at 9. I like the team at 8 and the team at 9. Kyle asking where our projection was on Underdog after we drafted it. So, if y'all see, Underdog will project your scores and project the points of the players that you draft, blah, 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 right here with your team. I completely ignore it. I literally could care less. I don't know if I've ever made a decision based off of them putting that there. Now, I will say, I do look at their player props because their player props, I think, are valuable in projections because they have to put their money where their mouth is. They actually have something to lose with those props if they're off, whereas they have nothing to lose if, like, this projection's off. So I think this projection's almost meaningless. And we're going to go ahead and we are going to take Deebo Samuel pick 38. I think you can make a very strong argument. You'd rather have Jerry Jeudy over Deebo Samuel, but Deebo Samuel, ADP 34. I think that there aren't going to be a ton of teams that have this start through the first 4 rounds of CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Lamar Jackson, Deebo. Pretty much the exact opposite of the team that we drafted previous, right? I mean, the other draft through the first 4 rounds, we had 1 wide receiver and 1 wide receiver only in Jalen Waddle. Okay. Now, Mixon went 40, Christian Watson 41. Kyle is just curious what your winning lineup was. So, I mean, we won multiple tournaments. I won the Big Dog 2 for 20,000. I won, the Bulldog 2 for 20,000. I won the Big Dog for 100,000. I got 16th place in Best Ball Mania for 10,000, and then a bunch of other miscellaneous places. But I did not look at the projection on any of those teams, my man. At the time we drafted them, I would never be able to tell you what they're projected for. Now, Najee Harris goes at 43 to the team that starts with the Kelsey Mahomes stack, DK Metcalf round 3. Bagel asking how much the buy-in was. So the league that we won $100,000 on Underdog last year, the buy-in was $250. The league where we won $20,000, the buy-in was $500. And the league where we won $10,000 was Best Ball Mania. That we didn't win the overall tournament. If you won the overall tournament, you got $2 million, but I just got 16th place, so I got 10,000. And that's actually the same tournament that we are in right now. I mean, so yeah, this is just this year's version of the tournament. It's the largest fantasy football tournament on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. It's Best Ball Mania. Just in case you don't know. It's $25 buy-in. Okay, let's move this over. Now, Burrow goes 48. I didn't even notice. That team went Jamar Chase at 1 over Justin Jefferson. Haven't seen that in quite some time. Very interesting. So they go with the Chase Burrow stack, the Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts stack through the first 4 rounds. I don't like it. I don't think you're going to win $3 million off of that. Mariano says, can you play in California? Yeah, so Underdog's available in pretty much every state. This is where Underdog's available in, my man. So the only states Underdog's not available in, it's like Nevada, Washington, Louisiana, Hawaii, and Michigan, pretty much. And then a couple small states, but yeah, you can play in California, you can play in Texas, play in Florida. But Carlos says, what is the upside for Quinn Conway's big junior season? Low upside, my man. I'm sorry. I don't think it's happening junior year. Senior year, maybe. Senior year, maybe. Not junior season, though. Okay. Scott says, why isn't it available in Michigan? Yeah, so if y'all don't know, with sports betting, everything, Underdog is regulated. Obviously, if you're on some like offshore blah, blah, blah BS, which you should never be on, please don't ever go and put money on like some crap offshore betting site like MyBookie or anything. Do not do that. But essentially, like in the regulated states, big companies like FanDuel can go ahead and they can hire lobbyists. And they go, hey, yeah, FanDuel is the only thing allowed here, or DraftKings is the only thing allowed here, you know? So that's why Underdog used to be in Michigan. It used to be in Ontario as well. And I believe now it's only DK and FanDuel, but I'm talking out of my ass. I could be completely wrong on that front. So do not hold my feet to the fire if I'm wrong. Okay. Now, Kirk goes 56. I definitely would have taken Christian Kirk 59. Okay, Deontay goes 57. I think I'm actually probably going to go ahead and take George Kittle here. Let's see what Stud Racer decides to do. They go Hollywood Brown. Yeah, I'm going to take George Kittle at the 5-6 turn. I mean, we already drafted Deebo Samuel. We bet on this 49ers passing offense. I generally draft a lot of George Kittle on the same teams that I take Deebo Samuel just because I like making that one consolidated bet. Cito says DK bought out Ontario. Yeah, obviously I know very, very little of how that stuff works. So like I said, I'm talking to my ass, but okay. Now Lawrence goes 60. We're going to go Godwin or Sanders, whoever falls. Alexander Madison goes. So we're going to go ahead. We will take Chris Godwin here. And hopefully we'll find some running backs that we like at the 7-8 turn. We have the elite quarterback. We have a tight end with a lot of upside. We have a very strong wide receiver room of CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel, Chris Godwin. But Jalopy Sausage says a third year in the flock. And third year, I can't draft with y'all because I'm in Ontario, Canada. How the hell do I say Canada? Best fantasy football channel out there. Flock Nation, let's fly. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for being out with us for so damn long now. Yeah, if y'all don't know, Jalopy Sausage is a long-time member of the flock. Thank you, my man. Now, Pitts going off the board at 66. We got Pitts in the last draft at 79, right? I mean, I felt like we kind of had to take Kyle Pitts there. I felt like I had to. Okay. Rob coming out says, thoughts on this 8 spot? We went Diggs, Garrett Wilson. Oh, yeah, Diggs, Garrett Wilson's phenomenal. Okay, this is ridiculous. Amari, Judy, Kenneth Walker, Miles Sanders, Javonte, Rashad White, Snipton, Watson, Rodgers. So we had to pivot. We got Russ and Mims, Pickett, and Fred. I really like this team if we took a third quarterback. If your 2 QBs were Russ and Kenny Pickett, I would definitely have taken a third quarterback if that's the investment we made into the position. But through the first 6 or so rounds, I mean, that's a super unique team with a lot of upside. Okay. Now, Javonte goes 70. I mean, we were definitely looking at Javonte Williams on the way back around at 83. Ross Cred says, what if Trey Lance kills it in the preseason? Are you kidding me, my man? It's like asking a kid, are you hyped for Santa Claus to come this year? What do you expect them to say? No? Of course. Let me pull up when the 49ers play, because this is something I have to watch, right? If I'm going to watch any game this year, any preseason game this year, I better be watching our guy Lance out there. Okay. Let's move this over. When is Lance playing for us? So he's playing Sunday, then next Saturday, then August 25th. Okay. How many preseason games do you wish there were? Do you like that there are only 3 preseason games, or do you wish that there were 4? Let me know. But it's A-Rod says, in a 12-team PPR format, I find it hard not to go wide receivers when you're sitting there with picks like 8, 12. Is it bad that when you can have Devontae Adams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, you do it most times? Generally, I would say no. Clearly, I go wide receiver at the start here with CeeDee Lamb as well as Devontae Adams. I think it comes down to your overall league format, because the issue is if you're in a league where you can only start up to 3 wide receivers and you're going to be looking at like Drake London in round 7, then you kind of want to be taking a running back out the gate. But Mike says, Best Ball Mania pick 4 started Chase and Barkley. Is this a unique team? Definitely. Barkley's been all over the place. There will be Chase and Barkley teams, but I love it. Carlos says, thoughts on Conway's absence from training camp? I think he's faking whatever injury he has, my man. There's no excuse for him to be missing out on training camp. Now, Rob says, if you got another quarterback like Stroud there, I love it, my man. Love it. And Joe says, thanks, Mason, for all you do for getting us ready. No, thank you so much for hanging out with us in the live stream tonight. Thank you, my man. And let's see. Brandon says 2 would be great. Ross Cred 2. So most people saying like 3 is fine. Some people saying they only want 2. The Rum Daddy says, I didn't mind 4. It does seem like, if you look at it as a 1-for-1, right, to other sports leagues. So back in the day when it was 4 preseason games and then 16 regular season games, the preseason was 25% of the regular season. That'd be equivalent to like baseball teams playing like 40 games during spring training. Or the equivalent of like basketball teams playing like what? To 20-ish games during the preseason. So looking back, it does seem like 4 preseason games was a lot. Now we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Dallas Goedert 83. Love it in best ball. I think we have 2 tight ends that have a lot of upside on a week-to-week basis. And we're going to take whatever running back makes it back around to us at 86. And that guy's Rachaad White. We already take Chris Godwin. So let's go ahead and let's make that consolidated bet on that Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. And I love this team. I'm never going to complain about getting Dallas Goedert out of value. So, maybe I'm just a little irrational here, but I genuinely really, really like this team, ladies and gentlemen. Right now we're sitting with CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel, Chris Godwin, wide receiver. Quarterback, we have Lamar Jackson. Tight end, we have Kittle, Goddard. And running back, we have Rachaad White. Oh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Okay. And we are going to be slamming running backs through the next few rounds. Most likely, we are going to draft 7 running backs with this team, especially when we only have to take 2 tight ends and possibly only 2 quarterbacks. Okay. No. Rupp Fire says, should go back to 16 games and 2 bye weeks, playoff teams per conference. The thing is, by adding on an extra week to the season, that's 1 more week that the NFL makes money. So it's like hard to go back on that. We've seen with basketball, it's hard for a league or baseball to cut back on the amount of games, even if it would help with the sport overall. I honestly think what makes the NFL so big, or at least one of the reasons the NFL is so big, is because every game means something. Like, a lot of people think that, young people don't like baseball because it's too slow or blah, blah, blah. I think fundamentally the reason like baseball's dying is because when you play 162 games, you can never sit there and really invest yourself into a game, right? You just know, especially as every sport has been kind of turned into math in a way, you know, where there are algorithms determining everything. It's like everybody realizes, it's going to all average out in the end. You know, who cares? Who cares if my Cubs lose today? They'll win tomorrow. At least that's how I view it. Like, I think one of the things that makes Underdog, I'm not Underdog, but the NFL big is that every freaking game counts. But Carlos says, who is the bigger PPR dog, Conray or Big Rye? Happy to have you back, my man. And I'm probably going Big Rye, if I had to guess. But Joey Page, longtime member of the flock, says, I started my 14-team Dynasty Superflex with Burrow, Justin Fields, T. Higgins, Kyler Murray in a 14-team Dynasty Superflex format. Getting Kyler Murray round 4 should not be legal, my man. Should not be legal. Okay. DNB says baseball games are faster now that the MLB added the pitch clock like the NFL clock. Let me know, are y'all enjoying baseball more this year than you have in years past? Please, let me know. Now, let's move this back around. And we cannot take a tight end here. And Dak Prescott was definitely in play for us, so it's not great seeing him go, right? But we are exclusively quarterback, running back, wide receiver through the rest. Okay. No to baseball. Loving baseball this year. Yes, actually. So, yeah, looks like most people, which is funny because what I thought, at least what I gathered from them adding in the pitch clock going into the season, I thought that most people that really like baseball were bummed out about the pitch clock. At least I didn't hear a lot of people excited about the pitch clock before the year, but I have heard a decent amount of people saying that they like it afterwards. Now we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Rashad Penny 107. I mean, we just need another running back, right? I mean, I think you can make an argument that we need to go ahead and take another running back at 110. Okay. Josh says, Mason, what is your favorite sport? Obviously football, my man. In terms of to watch, football by a country mile. Now, the question is, do we take Anthony Richardson or Samaje Perine? In my mind, Samaje Perine, similar to the other running backs that we're going to be looking at the 11-12 turn. So I'd rather get the rushing upside with Anthony Richardson, similar to the rushing upside with Lamar Jackson, and then just find out what running backs make it back around to us, right? So now we are going to be able to draft 2 quarterbacks, 7 running backs, 7 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. It's not necessarily something that I try to happen going into each and every one of these drafts. Instead, I just try to be flexible. I try to take the value where it falls to me. And I think, honestly, this is where it's fallen. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do just that, ladies and gentlemen. So, wide receiver now, we have Lamb, Adams, Debo, Godwin. Quarterback, we have Lamar, Anthony Richardson, chasing the elite level ceiling rushing upside. Tight end, we have Kittle, Goddard. And running back, we have Rachaad White and Rashad Penny. Carlos says, thoughts on Conway's smell and how it helps in the game? Well, I mean, you got to keep defenders on their toes, right? The very minimum. So I'd say it's probably a positional advantage. But, yeah, now what we want to see, obviously, when we have Anthony Richardson, Lamar Jackson, you're wanting to see quarterbacks go off the board. So you have Daniel Jones, 113, Geno Smith, 115, Kirk Cousins off, 117. Perfect for us. I really like this team. And looks like only half of y'all have gone down there and hit that like button. So please, if you have not done so yet, go down there and drop a like on this live stream. It helps us out a ton. And hell, I mean, this is like 103 days in a row live streaming. Nobody else is live streaming close to this amount for y'all. Please go down there. Now, Nitzer says, I'd rather watch a turtle race than baseball. I think baseball is like the most relaxing thing to watch, especially if you're talking about like going to a game. If I was going to go to a game, baseball would be at the very top of my list. TV is just a little tougher. Okay. And I played baseball growing up as well. Like I played baseball my entire life. But Ruby says, Happy BR one quarterback dynasty inherited a team in need of a rebuild. What return are you looking at for Jacobs and Waller? I mean, if I could get a future first for either guy, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull the trigger, especially in only a one quarterback format. Those future picks are going to be worth a little bit less. So yeah, I would say I'm probably going to try to sell both players in a package to another team in return for their 2024 and 2025 first round selections. Lock us in a higher pick next year by just having fewer overall points in our starting lineup, while at the same time giving us way more long-term flexibility. JC says, spring training in Phoenix was bomb because we sat on the grass and drank. I mean, like I said, going to a baseball game is awesome. Going to a baseball game is awesome. Now, let's move this over. And I need to go to more baseball games soon. Actually, y'all just gave me a really good idea. There's a minor league team right next to me. I need to see if they have a weekend game that I can take my girlfriend to before the season starts. Dobbs off the board, 128. Russell Wilson goes, thank God we're going to get a running back. Elijah Mitchell goes, so we're going to go ahead. We are going to take Jamal Williams here, 131. We just need running backs that can randomly score touchdowns and get our starting lineup, right? I mean, that's what we need at this point. Ooh, okay. I just found a game for this Sunday. Perfect. I'm going to buy tickets for Sunday. And actually, no, I'm going to have to be live streaming at this time. What about next weekend? Maybe we can do that. All right, Shark goes. So I'm actually going to go ahead, take Tank Bigsby. I mean, with Bigsby, kind of fits the similar mold to another running back that we just took with Jamal Williams, in that these are running backs that obviously aren't starters right away. I mean, in the case of Jamal, we actually get 3 weeks of him being a starting running back. But you're not expecting Jamal Williams. You're not expecting Tank Bigsby to be a starting running back by the time we get to week 10. But what we can say is, okay, well, at the end of the day, I mean, these are running backs that are going to have a role in their offense on a week-to-week basis. So maybe they can randomly spike into our starting lineup. Obviously, we don't have to predict when that's going to happen with this being on Underdog. And at the same time, if an injury were to occur in front of these players, whether that's to Alvin Kamara, whether that's to Travis Etienne, then all of a sudden we could see a higher ceiling in general. So that's what we're trying to do. Now, Dane says, 12-team one flex auction. How do you prepare your flex? Having trouble deciding to spending up for Andrews, Gibbs, Ridley, and having a dollar flex, or spreading that money between two cheaper guys like Walker as well as Chris Godwin. So I actually just made a video talking about auction draft strategy on flockfantasy.com. We just had a lot of requests, people wanting to see that. So if you're a member of flockfantasy.com, please, I just posted it like an hour or two ago. And if you're not a member of flockfantasy.com, promo code FLOCK, 30% off. I mean, 30% off with the lowest subscription, literally the same price of the donation right here. But yeah, and also promo code FLOCK. I'll break down your team in a podcast with the Mother Flocker tier. But nonetheless, I would say if it's a 12-team one flex auction and you only start two wide receivers, I'm not necessarily worried about going through and who exactly our flex spot's going to be. I'm just going to try to go studs and duds. I'm going to make sure that we can get an elite level tight end, get an elite level running back, whether that's Travis Kelce and Bijan Robinson, or maybe say Travis Kelce and Christian McCaffrey. And then after that, we're going to be going with pretty much the majority of our bench just as those dollar options, right? Those players that we're going to be ready to cut during the season when we need better waiver wire options. And then when it comes to filling out the rest of your starting lineup, I think that you just want to remain flexible and you want to make sure that you are taking the best guys at the best value for you. But I'd say in that kind of format, I want to be going studs and duds, and I want to try to get at least an elite level tight end and an elite level running back. Chase says, do you have to sign up to Underdog to get your rankings, or can you just deposit money? I'm sorry, my friend. The only time you can use promo code FLOCK on Underdog is when you initially create an account and sign up. So if you had a previous account on Underdog Fantasy, I'm sorry you can't take advantage of that deal. You can sign up on flockfantasy.com. Promo code FLOCK gets you 30% off any subscription. And also, if you already have an account on Underdog, go to the account page on flockfantasy.com, put in your Underdog username, and it'll immediately credit an extra $10 to your Underdog account, no matter when you set up your Underdog account. So yeah, I mean, essentially, you are able to get those rankings for free, because I think it would cost you $3 then at that point if you consider the 30% off and the $10 Underdog coupon. Now, Thielen goes 153. At this point, obviously, Alec Pierce is going to be in play for us when we take Anthony Richardson where we did. Okay, stud racer on the clock. They have no quarterbacks. Hopefully they take a QB here. They go Deonta Foreman. I'm not going to risk not getting Alec Pierce. We're just going to go ahead and take Alec Pierce to pair up with Anthony Richardson. If you look at this team, after us, they only have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Calvin Ridley, Rashad Bateman, DJ Chark. So you assume that they're going to go ahead and take some wide receivers here. They go Reed and Hyatt. Very interesting to see them go with those options instead of MVS. Do we go Marquez Valdes-Scantling or Singletary? I'm going to go MVS, honestly. I mean, if you're looking at this, we're getting MVS 11 picks after ADP. This is a wide receiver I like betting on just because I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of uncertainty with the Kansas City Chiefs offense, and I don't think Tony or Sky Moore are penciled in to just dominate with targets. So, yeah, let's take both those guys. But let's move this over. And Underdog's not just in the U.S. Underdog is available in Canada as well, outside of Ontario. See, I mean, this is a map where Underdog is available inside the U.S. And when it comes to outside, it's available in Canada, but not Ontario, my friend. See, it's not just the U.S. Okay, let's move this down. So Singletary, Mostert off the board, 160, 161. Obviously, we just want running backs to make it to us. It's going to be a team where we're looking at guys like Zeke, Fournette, Kareem Hunt. Take one of those players and just really hope one of them signs with Miami and one of them turns into a top 24 back, right? We'll see. We'll see. Ballin asking who our most drafted tight end is. It's Dallas Goedert, and it's not close either. Kenny says, there is no uncertainty in the Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver room. It's going to be Justin Ross. Well, if it is Justin Ross, my man, I am going to lose a considerable amount of money. I have drafted like no Justin Ross this year. And we're going to make our next two picks, and we're going to be hopping into another draft right after this one. Not good for us seeing all these running backs go, right? Definitely not good for us. Okay. What's the news that you had on Jordan Love? Slated to play Friday. So we get a bunch of people actually playing this weekend. So I guess we're going to get two solid preseason games from everybody this week and the following. What's the news on Jerome Ford labeled week to week. Jeff Wilson leaves with an injury today. Do we have more news on this? Because we may end up having to take Wilson. Wilson, undisclosed, departed Wednesday's practice early with an injury. Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald reports Wilson's injury details remain undisclosed, but even if he's just tending to a minor issue, it could impact his availability for Friday's preseason game against the Falcons. Jeff Wilson's like 27 years old. What the hell would he be doing playing a preseason game at the running back position? Like, why would he even do that? There's no reason for it. But Duval says, you always talk about picking players with the most upside, but since I started watching your channel last year, 95% of the time, you just pick highest ADP. Well, I mean, obviously, we're going to go ahead and we are going to be looking at the top of ADP with the majority of our drafts, considering the fact that last year I took 700 guys. Made 700 drafts, 700 teams. And this year, we're probably going to be looking at about 400 to 500. So, yeah, I mean, if we're going to go through in every single pick, we're going to scroll 10 picks past ADP and just go with who we believe the quote-unquote highest upside player is. What's naturally going to happen is we're going to be looking at 350 teams with one player. I'm going to have 400 teams with Dallas Goedert. I need to be balanced somewhat because, as I've said before, I'm an idiot. I'm wrong all the time, right? So I do have to be mixing in exposures to pretty much everybody. So what I'm trying to do is have about 2% to 20% exposure with all players. Now, saw Jagan asking how the team is at 5. Well, let's go ahead and let's make our 2 selections here, my man, and then we are going to check that out immediately after. We are just running back wide receiver at this point. Okay. I have an idea what we can do with our next 2 picks. Couple teams in front of us need running back as well. They only have 4. I'm sure theirs are better than ours are, but still. Jerome Ford goes 175. Jerome Ford was not someone that we were looking at. Jordan Love 176. Great for us. Shaheed's fallen a considerable amount. Tajay Spears goes 177. So we're going to go ahead. We are going to take Chuba Hubbard here as a running back that we kind of understands in that split backfield and possibly, just possibly, he has some usable weeks even with the healthy Miles Sanders. Okay. Curtis Samuel goes 180. What's the report on Chase Brown? Well, we don't have one. And we're just going to take Leonard Fournette here at 182 and send up a prayer that he goes to Miami. Or even New England. Just go somewhere. We're going to get work. And we're going to take one more running back and one more wide receiver in this draft. Let me show y'all this draft. Obviously, we need to hit on one of these 0 RB candidates for this team to have any shot. But nonetheless, I actually kind of like the team. And I'll keep y'all posted when we draft around 17 and 18. But let's go ahead. Let's hop into another Best Ball Mania draft. This is the largest fantasy football tournament on the planet. $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool, $3 million for first place. So let's get in here, ladies and gentlemen. Let us get in here. Now, oh, shoot. Let me pull up Jagan's team again, but that's my fault. We're at pick 2, so this is going to be a completely different pick than what we had in the last one. I mean, we are going to be looking at a completely different player pool, which I'm excited about. We'll just take whoever's there between Jefferson and Chase. Not going to overthink it at all. MF57 out here in this draft with us yet again. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. And let's pull up Jake's team there at 5. Tua Stafford quarterback. At that point, it seems a little awkward. I'd probably go with the third QB. Running back, Hall, Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders. Love the Miles Sanders and Dameon Pierce value. Dameon Pierce picked 77. Kupp, Waddle. I think it's strong Waddle value. McLaurin, Odell, Juju, Van Jefferson, David Njoku, Tyler Higbee. So a full-on Los Angeles Rams onslaught. So maybe actually you don't take a third quarterback if you're this invested in the Rams offense. I actually really like the team, my man. I was a little bit worried about it at first, looking at the Breece Hall selection and looking at us only having those 2 QBs. I mean, if you wanted to mix in a third quarterback, I think you could do it. Just don't have to. Now, we are on the clock, so we're going to go ahead. We are going to take Justin Jefferson here, ladies and gentlemen. I actually haven't drafted a lot of Jefferson just because, I mean, generally taking a jump. I'm sorry, we're going to take Chase. I'm an idiot. I've drafted a lot of Jefferson. Have not drafted a lot of Chase because I'm taking Jefferson over Chase in every single draft. So really the only time I'll get Chase is if I pick 2 and the team ahead of me decides to take Justin Jefferson. But it's A-Rod says, first time doing a best ball draft. Finished with my main guys being Herbert, Madison, Connor, Cook, Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin, Odell Beckham Jr., tight ends, Greg Dulcich, as well as Sam Laporta. I don't like this team for the reason where we have Herbert. It looks like we took Herbert before or at ADP, and we don't have any other Los Angeles Chargers, so we didn't complete that stack. I would also be looking at, I hope that we took a third tight end if we waited to grab Greg Dulcich as well as Sam Laporta. And I'm fine taking an unstacked Justin Herbert. But if we were going to do so, I am looking to do it when he falls past ADP, right? The last thing I want to do is reach on Justin Herbert ahead of ADP just so we can take him unstacked. But Isaiah says 10 team PPR, 6-point passing touchdown format. Are we going to go Fields or Jamar Chase? If it is Dynasty, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Jamar Chase. If it is a redraft format, I think it's going to be very much dependent on your league settings and how you expect your league mates to take the quarterback position. Versaire says, Mason, have you seen the Deuce Vaughn highlights out of Dallas? Looks to be an impressive round 18 pick. Okay. Let me bring up Deuce Vaughn here for just 1 second. Because obviously we can get training camp clips of pretty much anybody and they can look good. I'm just going to shut this down before it even gets started. And I'm sorry to be an ass about this as well. Deuce Vaughn is 5'5", 179 pounds, and ran a 4.61 40-yard dash. We've always said a couple different things. You can be small or you can be slow. But by no means can you be small and slow. We've never seen a running back like that. I mean, it's the same reason why we were avoiding guys like Kyron Williams last year. I mean, someone like, Isaiah Spiller last year. There's just no upside whatsoever. Racer says Darren Sproles, though. Okay, let's pull up Sproles because obviously this is also someone that was tiny, right? Now, other drafts, sorry, we're a little bit sidetracked. We're going to take Josh Downs and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Let's pull up Sproles. So I want to remind y'all, Deuce Vaughn, 5'5", 179 pounds, ran a 4.61, drafted at the very end of the 6th round of the NFL draft. Come on, Sproles. Are you going to load? Okay, what are we doing here? We're going to take Jonathan Taylor. We're going to shoot for the upside. It's a $25 buy-in, $3 million price pool. Darren Sproles was 5'6", 185 pounds. So Deuce Vaughn is smaller than Darren Sproles was. And Darren Sproles ran a 4.47, so at least he was athletic. So Darren Sproles was bigger and much more athletic as well. I mean, wasn't it the case that Deuce Vaughn's like dad is like the running back coach or something at Dallas? It was like, yeah, hey, take my kid. Take my kid. I'm sure everybody's been on a sports team where their dad was the coach and for whatever reason thought the kid was way better than he actually was. Like, please do not waste a pick on Deuce Vaughn. Do not do it. Okay, this team goes Higgins and what else are they doing? My computer's bugging right now. First, the Darren Sproles wasn't loading. Hopefully, the live stream's still going through. Okay. We're going to auto Josh Allen. I mean, thanks, computer. But honestly, I was taking Josh Allen no matter what. I was going to take whatever quarterback made it to us. Does put us in a little bit of an awkward spot, knowing that we possibly want to be taking Joe Burrow at the 4 or 5 turn. But it is what it is. Game Bomber says he isn't the running back coach. All right, well, Deuce Vaughn's dad, what coach is he at Dallas? Deuce Vaughn dad. Cowboys assistant director of college scouting. Okay, so I apologize. Deuce Vaughn's dad is in charge of scouting every college player. Is that better or worse? Better or worse? Assistant director. He's not. There's a big difference between just an assistant and the assistant director, my friend. But Matt coming out says, one quarterback dynasty league beyond stacked to wide receiver with Jefferson, Lamb, Garrett Wilson, JSN, AJ Brown, Ridley. Oh my gosh. Should we trade Olave, Higgins, and a future second for Jamar Chase? Overpay, but too big, need a hammer. I'm fine with you doing this if it's going to be a league where you start 8 or fewer players. 8 or fewer players, my friend. But yeah, go pay for that stud. If you have an embarrassment of riches in your dynasty format, like that's the spot where you are allowed to go ahead and overpay for true studs, right? True difference-making players. Trent says assistant to the assistant. What's the, I haven't seen The Office in years. It's not assistant regional manager. It's, what is it? What is it? Now, any big surprise? Jacobs falling to pick 34 is a pretty big deal. I love that team at 10. That team at 10 that goes Diggs, Garrett Wilson, Josh Jacobs out the gate. That's beautiful. MVX says assistant to the regional manager. Okay, yeah. Deuce Vaughn's dad is assistant to the director of scouting. He's not assistant director of scouting. He's the assistant to the director of scouting. All right. Jacob coming out says, thoughts on this Best Ball Mania team? Quarterback, we have Watson and Rodgers. Running back, we have Bijan, Brees, Miles Sanders, Deonta Foreman. Wide receiver, we have Wilson, Debo, Hollywood, Burks, Odell. Tight end, we have Njoku, Conklin. I really like the team, my man. I like it. Hopefully we only drafted 2 quarterbacks, but I would honestly probably have drafted 3 tight ends with that team. I mean, if you wait to take, say, David Njoku round 9 and then round like 17, Tyler Conklin, I definitely think that you can take one more tight end, whether that's like a round 18 guy like Hayden Hurst, or maybe if you wanted to make someone in like Tyler Higbee, I think that would have been fine as well. Okay. Let's move this down. Mike Williams goes 44. Squeaky Clean says, how do you typically go about naming your drafted teams? To be honest with you, if y'all don't know, on Underdog, you can name the teams that you draft. So this one, I'd probably name like Allen Taylor Chase or something along the lines. Generally, what I would do is I would name them the stack that I have, right? So if it's going to be an Allen, Gabe Davis, Dalton Kincaid stack, I'd probably name it something along those lines. But when I'm drafting, like last year, I drafted 700 teams on Underdog. I'm not naming them, right? It's hard to name 700 teams after every draft. Now, Aaron Jones goes 48. We're going to go whoever falls between Hawkinson and Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker goes, so we're going to go TJ Hawkinson here. Just in my mind, I don't really see Christian Kirk or Brandon Ayuk in the same tier as these other wide receivers. Like, I'm going to be underweight both Kirk and Ayuk. See. Drennan says, thoughts on Justin Ross? I think Justin Ross was a phenomenal college player, but someone that was what? A UDFA? That was injured his rookie season, didn't play at all. The probability that Justin Ross is something is slim to none at this point if you look at historical comps. Like, I really want to root for him, right? If he overcomes everything, like this was supposed to be the next big guy, severe injury. If he finds himself back and all of a sudden he's a real difference-making player on a Super Bowl roster, I think that's going to be awesome for the game of football. I would love rooting for Justin Ross. I mean, hell, back at his time at Clemson, at a younger age, he was more productive than T. Higgins on the same roster. But I don't know. I'm not betting on UDFAs that didn't play their rookie season. Okay. Hollywood Brown goes 59. So Burrow falls a considerable amount here. That team at 10 is so damn interesting. The only thing I really don't like is them taking Drake London over Jerry Jeudy. I think with the Patrick injury, now you have to go Jeudy over London. But yeah, them going Burrow there at 58 is nice because it will naturally set them up to go Tyler Boyd later on. There aren't going to be a lot of Burrow, Tyler Boyd teams. But Adam coming out says, does standard scoring impact Jefferson's number 1 overall, or am I overthinking it? Thanks, brother. Love the content. No, thank you so much, my man. And so if it's going to be non-PPR versus full PPR, obviously you want to be sliding running backs up a bit. But let's think about the running backs at the top of draft boards. Right now, the top 2 running backs that go in fantasy football drafts are Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler. Why did they go there? Because they're receiving down skill set, right? So it transitioning to a non-PPR format from a full PPR league will obviously hurt wide receivers across the board, but it's also going to hurt those running backs that you would consider at the very top of draft boards anyway, such as CMC as well as Austin Eckler. So I'd probably still end up going wide receiver with Justin Jefferson round 1. Okay. Ted says, it's funny your team has Allen and Chase. The 10th pick has Burrow and Diggs. That's pretty funny, my man. No. Let's swing this back around. And we're really balanced, right? I mean, pretty much anything can happen and we're going to be fine with it. We're really balanced with this team. Okay, Dameon Pierce goes 65. Dobbins fell an insane amount in that last draft. If y'all saw, we were 1 pick away from getting J.K. Dobbins at the 7-8 turn, which if that would have happened, I mean, our team would have just been unbelievably beautiful. I mean, our team would have been great. Coke and Dope on the clock. 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers. They took Christian Kirk, so Lawrence is definitely in play for him. Lawrence goes 68. Speedy Claxton goes Darren Waller 69. So Waller now going ahead of both Pitts and Goddard. Pitts goes. Do we take the unique pick with Akers, or do we go ahead and just get the safe stack with Gabe Davis? We're going to make the bet that Gabe Davis makes it back to us. Cam Akers is the last running back in this tier where there are a lot of wide receivers this team could look at. So we're going to go Cam Akers, plan being Davis on the way back around. Backup was going to be Dallas Goedert. Sadly, that's no longer happening. I'd say backup at this point is most likely going to be Jordan Addison, considering the fact that we took Hawkinson and set ourselves up with the ability to go Kirk Cousins on the way back around. So Addison goes. So we are going to get Gabe Davis paired up with Josh Allen, like I thought we would. I mean, the reason Gabe Davis has an ADP here is most of the time the Josh Allen team is going ahead and taking Gabe Davis. So yeah, it was pretty likely that we were going to get him on the way back around 7, which ends up happening. But let's move this over. Javonte 75. Javonte not slowing down, ladies and gentlemen. Not slowing down. And now I really like our team here as well. I mean, definitely way more balanced than our first 2 teams. This one we have Chase, McLaurin, Gabe Davis, wide receiver. Running back, we have JT Cam Akers. Quarterback, we have Allen. Tight end, we have TJ Hawkinson. But let's move this over. And ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 800 likes in this live stream. So if you have not done so already, Go down there, drop a like on this stream. You know, we are streaming these drafts literally every single night. We've been live for 100 nights in a row at this point, not stopping until 2024. And if you want to get into one of these drafts with us, whether that's today, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, or if you want to go check out any of our 2023 fantasy football rankings, the best way to do that is go sign up for Underdog. When you use promo code FLOCK, you're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings. You're going to get our 2023 fantasy football draft guide, as well as a free trial to flockfantasy.com. It's available in damn near every state. You can see all the states here, ladies and gentlemen. And this is also the same site that has all the player props, right? I mean, my favorite props right now are going to be Swift versus Damian Harris rushing yards, Terry McLaurin versus Jahan Dotson receiving touchdowns, and I also like Jordan Love for fewer than 13.5 receptions. Okay. Let's move this down. Andrew says it would take a while, but do you think it would be fun to do an underdog draft that is auction style? Because how wildly different auctions are across the board, I would assume that underdog, and of course, I'm speaking out of my ass, but probably never does an auction tournament. I could see them doing auction private drafts, but I don't know. I mean, because the thing is with auction leagues, they just take so damn long, right? Like, that's the reason I can't really do auction mock drafts, is because they take so long, and at the same time, if one person leaves, everything is ruined. If one person leaves an auction, everything's ruined. If one person leaves a draft, it's going to keep going as normal. Now, Kamara goes 87. Pacheco, 88. Okay, let's see what's happening. Venus Bean, I appreciate it, my man, but please do not spam the chat. Brandon Cooks goes 89. So Treylon Burks continue to fall here. Burks makes it down to pick 90 in this draft. Tua goes 91. Tua wasn't in play for us. We did not take Tyreek. Sky Moore goes 93. Hell yes, we're going to get Dalvin Cook, the guy that we were looking for. With Dalvin, how many players have the upside of him in this range, right? Dalvin goes to Miami. All of a sudden, he's a round 4 draft pick. I mean, this is a $25 buy-in, $3 million first place price. We're looking for guys that have insane ceilings. I think Dalvin Cook would have a pretty large ceiling if he finds himself in the right landing spot. Like, can y'all please answer me this? And this is a genuine question, right? What team would Dalvin Cook have to go to where he is then drafted below Antonio Gibson in fantasy football drafts this year? Can everybody please let me know in the live chat? What team would Dalvin Cook need to go to where you would say, well, that's it, I'm going to move him below Antonio Gibson? And we're going to take Evan Ingram. That way we only have to take 2 tight ends with this build. And we're going to be looking at Cousins on the way back around. Okay. So Connor says Pats. So if Dalvin Cook went to the New England Patriots, you'd rather have Antonio Gibson over Dalvin Cook. Okay. Washington. If Dalvin went to Washington, he's clearly going ahead of Antonio Gibson. Browns. I'm fine with the Browns answer. I don't think it would happen, but I think it's a fine one. Indy. Not if JT's moved. The only way Dalvin goes to Indianapolis is if JT's moved. And if JT's gone, I'd rather have Dalvin on an empty depth chart. Dolphins, he crushes. JD, Jets, he stays the same ADP. I think Jets honestly moves up just a little bit. Titans, yes. If he goes to Titans, he's not moving up. I will say that. But why is he going to go to the Titans? See, I mean, I think y'all are probably realizing it. But, like, the main reason for that question is, what landing spot makes sense for Dalvin Cook to go to for a team to want to bring him in? And he is not better than Antonio Gibson in fantasy football. I don't think it exists, right? So for that reason, I'm going to be completely fine taking Dalvin Cook here at the 8-9 turn. Okay, David Njoku goes 105. So at this point, we are hoping to see tight ends go off the board, right? We have TJ Hawkinson. We have Evan Ingram. We're done drafting tight end. We're just quarterback, running back, wide receiver. And actually, never mind. I said that we are really targeting Kirk Cousins on the way back around. I guess Cousins actually went. Where did he go? Oh, Cousins went to the Jefferson team. I guess they were really worried about us taking Kirk Cousins. So they took him with Jefferson as well as Jordan Addison. Not going to fault him, right? But I forgot that we didn't take Addison. I forgot that we ended up getting our guy, Gabe Davis. So it's like we had to take him. Okay. David says, I didn't like the Ingram pick. Thought Kincaid would have given more upside of variation. Not going to argue with you. It's just the question is, who are we going with if it's not Evan Ingram? Am I taking Odell Beckham Jr.? Am I taking Michael Thomas? Am I taking Gibson? Am I taking I don't know. When in doubt, I'm just going to go that direction. That way we can lock up the roster construction that we want. Okay. Okay, Brian Robinson off 109. So if we're looking at quarterbacks that could make sense for us, Daniel Jones, quarterback we can take with some rushing upside that would allow us to only have to take 2 quarterbacks in this entire draft. Geno Smith wouldn't make any sense. I mean, Geno Smith doesn't have as much rushing upside as Daniel Jones, and we can't really take any Seattle Seahawks at this point, whereas we can be looking at some Daniel Jones pass catchers at the very end. See, I think Daniel Jones would be in play where Geno Smith would not be. Okay. Juju goes, Geno as well. The question is, are we forced to take Samaje Perine if Perine falls? Y'all know I have no Samaje Perine. Okay. Frymuth finally off the board 115. If Pat Frymuth made it to us at 119, I could safely say that our decision to take Evan Ingram was horrendous. It would have been a horrendous pick. Samaje Perine goes. So we're going to go ahead. Do we just take Devon Achane? We'll take Devon Achane. I think we'll probably get Daniel Jones on the way back around. The thing is, there's just no reason to take Daniel Jones at this point when that team right after us already has, I believe, Jalen Hurts as well as Kirk Cousins. Okay, Jamal goes. Lightning says, what month do you think the Best Ball Mania winner gets drafted in? If I had to guess, I would guess August. Because I think by the time we get to September, we're going to know enough where, I mean, prices are kind of going to be locked in. Whereas in August, right now, we have a decent amount of information, but there's so much uncertainty bringing a ton of values. Like, I mean, Josh Jacobs picked 34. Jonathan Taylor sometimes falling into the third, into the fourth round. So my bet would be the Best Ball Mania winning team gets drafted like right around this time where there's just uncertainty, and that uncertainty is providing drafters with severe discounts on players that have a lot of upside. AWOL says, it already has. It's my team. All right, well. If it is, my man, and you win $3 million, you better be hosting the Flock meetup this year, and it better be badass. I've already said, if I win Best Ball Mania on Underdog, and if I win the $3 million, I will host the craziest Flock meetup we've ever had. I will actually cater food for everybody, and I will not just be a cheapo who only brings Gatorades and waters. But I expect the same thing from y'all. If one of y'all win $3 million in Best Ball Mania, or hell, let's even say the $2 million in Best Ball Mania, even if you get second, I expect you to throw us a crazy Flock meetup party. You can afford the plane ticket if you're not near Austin. But Brett says, thoughts on my Best Ball Mania team. We have Geno, Daniel Jones, Chubb, Walker, Sanders, St. Brown, Amari, Judy, Zay Flowers, Jameson, Pat Frymuth. Generally, unless you're getting Geno Smith at a really strong value, Geno's not one of those quarterbacks I like stacking stacking with like Kenneth Walker, just given the fact that, hell, with Kenneth Walker, Walker's not necessarily going to be a pass catcher. Geno doesn't have a lot of rushing upside in his own right. So I like the team on the whole, and just the quarterback strategy, I just don't know if I feel comfortable with. Geno, Daniel Jones is right there where you possibly only have to take two quarterbacks. I don't know. Love Star says, once I win Best Ball Mania 4, I'm stealing the Flock's girlfriend. All right, well, my man. If you win $3 million, you can have her. All right, you're going to have to convince her. I'm sure if you win $3 million, there won't be too much. It won't be too hard to convince her to leave me, my man, but wishing you the best of luck. Now, Tyler Algier going at 134. Let's move this over. Russ falling a bit. We don't have any Broncos. We wouldn't be looking at any Broncos here. So tight end's not going to be a play for us either. We are just wide receiver running back, but we really need some wide receivers here, right? We only have Chase McLaurin, Gabe Davis so far at wide receiver. So, we're hoping to spam wide receivers here at the 12-13 turn, possibly the 14-15 turn as well. Now, Eli says, hey, Mason, Dynasty, would you prefer Lamar, Lamb, Wilson, Dak, or Lamar, Lamb, Richardson, JSN? Appreciate you, my man. No, thank you. So essentially, we're swapping Richardson and JSN for Garrett Wilson and Dak Prescott. Easily rather have Garrett Wilson and Dak Prescott here, if I'm reading this correctly. Like, Dak and Richardson are about the same for me, and Garrett Wilson's way over Jackson Smith and Jigba. Actually, no, never mind. I'm stupid. This is Dynasty. I apologize, my man. Let me have another second to think about it. We'll take Jaylen Warren as our fifth running back, and then we're just going to slam wide receivers. So if we're looking back at this, with a dynasty lens in mind, clearly I would say if it's going to be a one quarterback format, you definitely go Garrett Wilson, Dak. If it is a super flex format, I'm fine with you going JSN and Njigba if you're a rebuilding team. But yeah, we will go ahead and what's the report on MVS? Yeah, listed as a starter. Good news for me. We'll take MVS. Now, Fergal says if you won the $3 million, you could surely buy the Flock man himself. Now, I'm not going to confirm nor deny this, but yes, instead of you getting my girlfriend to leave me, you probably have a better shot at getting me to leave her. And yeah, Nick says, forget Mason's girlfriend. When I win Best Ball Mania, I'm taking him on a date for all the content. Yes. You can have me, my man. You can have me. Let's smooth this down. And we just need wide receiver values, right? I wonder if we should have passed on Warren there. But we'll see. We'll see how this draft turns out through the rest of it. But we're definitely going to be looking at slamming some New York Giants wide receivers near the end here. But Jaylen Warren's kind of the last running back in this tier for us. Once you get to like 167, 170, we're going to be lucky to look at guys like Deonta Foreman at that point, where there still will be some wide receivers. Dean asking if we've seen indecent proposal. No, I have not, my friend. I have not. Okay. Kyler Murray goes 155. Just get as many of these tight ends off the board as possible. As many of these tight ends and quarterbacks. Solid Jagan says, when I win, I'll buy Flock Fantasy and turn it into a Jonathan Mingo website. Yeah. If Jonathan Mingo wins you Best Ball Mania, my man, you are more than welcome to. More than welcome to. Okay. Smooth this over. Derek Carr goes 156. Oh my gosh. If Roschon Johnson makes it to us, oh dear God. We made a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the first person to admit it. We turn a good thing into a bad thing, as we usually do. Oh, Mason, you idiot. Let's hopefully see some running backs get drafted here, ladies and gentlemen. Taysom goes 159. Good for us. Roschon goes 160. Okay. Nick says, really hope a flocker, I guess Mason would be all right too, wins Best Ball Mania. Would be the dopest meetup party. Considering how many members of the flock have entered into Best Ball Mania, there's a very real chance one of y'all wins the $3 million. And that's why I'm telling y'all, and I'm being genuine and saying, if y'all win the $3 million, we better be partying. Like, if y'all don't know, Nick, a member of the flock last year in the puppy tournament, which is a $5 buy-in, won $75,000, which is obviously awesome, right? But $75,000 versus $3 million is a pretty big difference. So we weren't making Nick go out there and do anything crazy and host a party for everybody. But if y'all win the $3 million, we better be throwing a party. Nick says there's absolutely a non-0% chance. If I had to put a probability that a member of the flock wins Best Ball Mania, realistically speaking, depends on how you define a member of the flock. If you define that as they use promo code FLOCK on Underdog, or if you define that as they just hang out in the live streams with us, because there are a lot of people that were already on Underdog and just all of a sudden found us and hang out with us in these streams. But like I said, depends on how you define it. I would say there's probably a 25 to 30% chance that the team that wins $3 million in Best Ball Mania this year is a member of the flock. And out of that 25 to 30% chance, 24 to 29% of that is my own team. But I'm giving y'all 1% to help me out. I'm giving y'all 1%. Solid says, we go into Dave & Buster's and tearing that. That's hilarious, my man. That's hilarious. Now we're going to go Shaheed 170. Simply stated, we need wide receivers, ladies and gentlemen. We need them bad. You can make an argument to go Isaiah Hodgins instead of Shaheed. I think it would be a fine argument to make. I think that we can still look at some other New York Giants a little later on. So we'll figure it out. Okay. Paris Campbell goes 179. That sucks for us. Paris Campbell is definitely someone that we were looking at on the way back around. Justin Ross has moved up considerably. Justin Ross now has an ADP of 183, so it looks like a decent amount of people are actually drafting him. So let's see. Dean says he's taking Parker next. Shakir's obviously in play for us when we have Josh Allen, right? Honestly, wouldn't mind taking a 6th running back and going 2 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 8 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. I don't think we have to go 3 wide receivers through the rest of this. Hunter Renfrow, 184. Stroud, 186. Okay, we're looking at Slayton and Shakir for our stacks. JCM says, super random, but have you ever been to the F1 race there in Austin? No, I have not, my friend. I have not. If anybody has gone and they've had fun, let me know, and maybe it's something I can look into going. Okay, Trey Ray on the clock. Let's see what they decide to do. They go Richard James. So we're going to get Shakir here to pair up with Josh Allen. And then I'm assuming we're going to get Darius Slayton. Oh my gosh, look at the tight ends available. Who did this team take a tight end? Goddard and Irv Smith. So they can take a 3rd tight end if they want. So let's see. As long as we get Slayton, we're chilling. NRG says, if I win 3 milli, I'm going to disappear, fellas. Just being honest. No one will ever know unless you match the screen name next to me. Yeah. If I win the 3 million in Basketball Mania, we may just go dark. But Burgundy Bet says, not a flock member. Watch every night. Basketball Mania teams at 115 will max out. Party will be in Vegas. 3-day event. Love to hear it, my man. Love to hear it. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Darius Slayton, pair him up with Daniel Jones. We want at least one of these wide receivers with the Giants. No idea who it's going to be. I mean, might as well just take one of them. But I think that should be it for the live stream tonight. Again, thank you so much for everybody hanging out with us. And of course, if you want to get in one of these drafts with us, these are drafts on Underdog Fantasy. A best ball, so no time commitment at all during the year. And if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com where you can find our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. Available in damn near every state. You can see all the states here. And this is the same place that has all the player props that you see in the videos. But thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. I really, really do appreciate y'all. And I really hope I get to see y'all with the live stream tomorrow.